Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Friday, September 22nd, 2023. And our top story today, holiday shopping to begin by Halloween. Joining me now to discuss this and a lot more, Ted Rossman is with Bankrate. Ted, always great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Yes, thanks for having me.
All right, Ted, I got to shake my head at this because I know Bankrate just came out with a survey, but half of holiday shoppers are going to begin shopping by Halloween. It's September. We're already talking about end of year holiday shopping.
I know it seems to start earlier every year. I think the motivation has changed. Remember a couple of years ago, everybody said you have to start early, the supply chain's a mess, order now, or it's not going to come in time for Christmas. I feel like now the motivation is more price-based. A third of holiday shoppers say that they're changing their plans because of inflation. And I actually think the early start can be smart in that sense because it gives you more time. So you can spread out your cash flow, you can find the best deals, maybe save some money every paycheck between now and the end of the year so you're not taking on expensive credit card debt. I know some people scoff at the early start because it's still warm in a lot of the country, but I actually think it makes some sense.
Well, I think it does too in terms of finding those deals. But let me ask you, Ted, and we've done shows with you about credit card debt, overall debt. Look, I mean, every survey I see from Bankrate and others, that credit card debt is going through the roof. People are moving now to buy now, pay later loans and running up the credit card debt. Does that concern you? Or as you were talking about before, starting early allows you to find maybe the baby Yoda of 2023 a little earlier?
It is concerning that credit card balances are at record highs, credit card interest rates are at record highs. The average is approaching 21%. Let's face it, you don't want to be paying off this Christmas a year from now or worse. I mean, that minimum payment math is totally brutal. If you have the average credit card balance, which is about $6,000 according to TransUnion, if you make minimum payments at that average interest rate, you'll be in debt for almost 18 years and you'll end up paying almost $9,000 just in interest. So absolutely, we want you to pay in full if you can, or if you can't, take advantage of a 0% balance transfer offer. Maybe shift your spending to cash or debit while you're paying off the credit card debt. Maybe work with a reputable nonprofit credit counseling agency. You don't want to dig the hole any deeper. So that's another reason why I think, if nothing else, start to sketch out your holiday plans. Even if you're not ready to buy yet, start that saving plan, start setting that budget. We found that about 4 in 10 holiday shoppers are going to be more aggressive about seeking coupons and discounts and deals this year. A lot of those good deals are going to start in early October. That's another big trend. The retail industry is starting this Black Friday kind of pricing in early October now.
And look, I just read somewhere Amazon is going to hire 250,000 employees for the holiday season. I think TikTok, this one, I look, don't call me old, but I don't understand how TikTok is getting now involved in the retail space. So as you said, everyone's kind of gearing up. If we just take a step back, maybe do you lower your children, the gift receivers' expectations to say, hey, we're not going to get you the Tickle Me Elmo, or I don't even know what the gift is of the. I'm going to ask you about that in a second. But do you change the expectations for the gift recipients?
You certainly could. Yeah, we actually found in our survey that about 4 in 10 holiday shoppers say they're just simply going to buy fewer items this year. So I think we're going to see a very price conscious customer. I think retail sales will be okay because the job market is still good, but I don't think they'll be great. Like, for example, last year, holiday sales were up about 5% from the prior year, but inflation was running in the 6 to 7% range. Inflation's come down a bit, but I think these holiday shopping numbers could come down as well. I feel like a lot of the numbers I'm seeing are forecasting something like a 4% rise over last year. I think it could even be a little bit less than that. I think that we're seeing a very price conscious customer, but hey, there's no shame in that. I mean, it's better than taking on credit card debt. So maybe even consider sourcing things secondhand or making things or buying less stuff. Use your unused gift cards. About half of us have them. The average is approaching $200. Cash in some credit card rewards for cash back or gift cards. There are some things you can do to have fun on a budget.
Yeah, and maybe you could just give a card and a hug and a handshake. That always works well. I know it's not as material as maybe giving a gift, but maybe something to think about. Ted, I want to take a very quick break. When we come, quick break, I should say. When we come back, we'll talk more about how to plan for your holiday season and your gift giving. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms? Especially for the smaller businesses. I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network. Well, Ted, thanks so much for staying with us. Really appreciate you hanging around for segment number 2 this morning.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, Ted, I want to ask you, and I think you have children. What's the hot, is there a hot gift? Do we know what the hot gift? I know a lot of kids of all ages, even adults, play video games, but any sense for, a couple of years back, it was Baby Yoda. Maybe 10 or 15 years ago, it was Tickle Me Elmo was the big one. Any sense for what kids are going to want these days?
Yeah, I remember both of those crazes, Baby Yoda and Tickle Me Elmo. I'm not sure if there's a singular item that's going to be flying off the shelves this year. I wonder if Barbie might actually have a bit of a resurgence, just given how hot that movie was this summer and maybe being introduced to a new generation. I feel like there's always the classics, toys, dolls, electronics. Although what's interesting there is that a lot of consumer spending has shifted away from physical goods and more towards experiences. So that might be another thing. Maybe this year more people will be giving gift cards for, I don't know, concert tickets or meals out or trips or something like that. It feels like that's where a lot of the splurges are happening. And I think it's still rooted in a lot of this post-pandemic, you only live once, let's get out and do stuff kind of thing. Because sales of electronics and home improvements and clothing have been pretty mild, but people have actually been really splurging much more on the experiential kind of stuff. So it might be an experience-based kind of holiday season.
Yeah, maybe not people not going out and buying the new iPhone 15 or the latest gizmo and gadget. Ted, you bring up travel. I just want to ask you about travel a little bit. Now it might be with I guess things starting to, travel at the end of the year really stinks in terms of last minute getting flights. Is now the best time if you're thinking about that experience, going to Africa, going on a safari, going, I don't know, whatever, climbing Mount Everest. I don't even know if that's the right time to do it at the end of the year. But either way, is now the right time to find those deals because maybe airlines are looking to get more people into the air with them.
It is, yeah. Whether you're going home for the holidays or taking a trip abroad, the sooner the better, because airline demand is still very high, supply is still a bit constrained, prices are up. I think it makes sense to book sooner, not later. If you are interested in taking a trip further afield, Thanksgiving is actually a great time to go abroad because that's a holiday here in the US and prices are really high domestically, but not as high in other parts of the world. Business travel kind of slows for a bit. So it's actually a great time to go to Europe, let's say. I don't know how your family might feel about ditching them, but anyway, I think the sooner the better. Use those airline points and miles too. I think a lot of people sit on these rewards and kind of forget they have them, and they can be really valuable and can offset high prices.
Yeah, I have a plethora of miles, and look, you just saw kind of what Delta was doing and some of the other airlines, kind of changing their rewards plans, changing who can come into their little I don't know what you call them, the little lobby areas where they can sit down and take a break. Ted, I want to ask you, kind of end the segment back on buy now, pay later, because every website that I go to, whether it's Amazon or some other the big retailers, Target, there's always a thing to say you can pay by credit card. You can pay by PayPal, or you can do something where you pay buy now, pay later. Let's talk a little bit about that. Why would you and why wouldn't you want to use that service? Is it cheaper than a credit card, paying that over a period of time, or is it more expensive potentially?
It's such an interesting space because the most common flavor is for interest-free payments over 6 weeks. When we talk about companies like Affirm and Afterpay and Klarna, that's really how they started. I feel like they've actually become much more credit card-like over time. Actually, Affirm and Klarna even have debit cards now that operate very much like credit cards, where you can opt into a financing mechanism, and sometimes that rate is at or even over what a credit card would charge. So that's really important to look into the fine print. Is it for interest-free payments over 6 weeks, or is it a longer plan with or without interest? The terms can vary very widely. I think it can be a bit of a slippery slope in terms of it's mental accounting, right? Like, oh, it's not a $200 purchase anymore. It's just 4 easy installments of $50. I mean, in some ways, that's a time old tactic, and we've seen it with infomercials and other things. Just be careful about that total cost of ownership. You want to really think about that total amount, not just the installments, but what are you committing to? What's the term? What's the interest rate? In some ways, it is like credit cards, where people say credit cards can be like power tools. They're either really useful or dangerous, and it depends on how you use them. I think buy now, pay later is similar. And remember, it's a loan. I mean, sometimes people don't view this as debt, but it is a form of debt.
Yeah, and you make a really good point. Understand the interest rate and what that interest is. A really simple formula. You can take the principal, $50, times 1 point, and then add the interest rate to figure out what the actual interest is going to be plus the principal. And it really gives you, I mean, if you do that, you can make it very clear as day. Ted, we're going to leave it there. I can't believe we're talking about holiday shopping already, but we look forward to having you back on the program again very soon, my friend.
Sounds good. Me too. Thanks.
And that wraps up this episode of BRNAM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to? Drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the latest curated news and lifestyle, wellness, finance, tech, so much more, all in one place, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Want to search our archives? Check out our latest content? Visit our website. We're back again tomorrow with another edition of BRN Weekly. We'll be taking a look at markets with Monica Malpass of the NASDAQ, and then taking a look back at some of our best segments for the week. You're not going to want to miss it. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.
But if you're tired of the same old...
Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the First Lifestyle and Wellness Network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device.